Good morning, everybody. Today I am going to finally trim my Russian sage. I have this big one that I've shown you before, but I also have this one that's tall but not very big, wide I should say, and I like it that way. Eventually it will come out when this purple plum tree gets big. There won't be room for it, but that's why I'm keeping it the size it is. I also, over in my cut flower garden, you can barely see them over there. I have Helen von Stein lambs here that I need to trim, and I believe that's the only things I have left to trim for this season. So I will walk you through what I do, how I determine how far to cut them, what I'm looking for. So first of all, I like my Russian sage to not be extremely woody and have these big thick branches like these down here. So you can see where I cut them last year, and that's what I'm going to do again. I'm going to cut them back to that point, and that way the thick woody stems are not any taller than, what is that, 8 inches or so. Obviously they do have some woody stems, but they aren't that thick woody stem. Show you up close where I'm going to cut, like I just pointed out to you, but you can see here, right here is where I cut it last year. And so I'm going to cut these back just at that same point. And they aren't very thick, so they're real easy to cut with my Felco trimmers. Okay, so the first one is done. You can see it looks like it's just been butchered, kind of, but it's not. This is what I do every single year. If you want to cut off some of these little ones, that's fine too. You can do that. At this point, it's your preference. But that's what I do, and it will start growing again from the bottom and off of the limbs that are cut. And as you've seen in some previous pictures, it'll be a very big Russian sage and very pretty. It will get purple flowers and attracts a lot of pollinators, particularly honeybees. Love Russian sage. I don't see as many bumblebees, but they do come to it. As I've mentioned before, they are very easy to take care of, very easy to grow. They don't like a lot of water. They do not want fertilizer, so I have never fertilized mine. I have read that if you fertilize them, they'll probably die because they like harsh conditions. They like the heat. I do give them a little bit of water here and there, but for the most part, they're on their own. Okay, now I'll start on the next one. And this one won't take as long. You can see I only have a few shoots. So I'm again gonna trim this pretty far down here. I go pretty far on this one. And this one again will come out from the bottom and grow off those current stems that I'm cutting on. So that one's really easy. While I'm over here, I want to give you a look at my climbing rose, or roses, I should say. It's 2 plants. About a week after I fertilized them. Again, because we've had warm temperatures, but you can see all the leaves coming out. The interesting thing is this side is growing faster than this side as far as the leaves coming out. It might have to do with the angle of the sun right now. It doesn't get as much sun as the other side does. So you can see the bottom half that doesn't get as much sun, doesn't have as many leaves popping open as this other side, but it's still doing great. All right, on to our lamb's ear. Okay, so now we are in my cut flower garden, and you can see the 2 lamb's ear. They die back every year, but they are perennial. But here's the exciting thing. Look at all the bulbs that are coming up. And this is a mixture of alliums and daffodils. And there are tulips in here that I planted over a year ago. So I'm not sure they're gonna come back, but you can see all of those daffodils and alliums coming up, which is great to see. All right, now for the trimming of the lamb's ear. One of the things I start doing before I trim my lamb's ear is with gloved hands. I just kind of do this, and you're probably wondering why. I'll tell you why. So one year I was out here, it was after I had trimmed them and they were growing, but there was a little mouse that lived underneath these. Well, that freaked me out, scared me, so I just give him a chance to get out before I start trimming so I don't get scared. I just go in here and start clipping the dead away, but you can already see there's new growth coming. So this is why we want to do this now. Our temperatures are still getting low overnight. We are not out of the freeze zone yet. Our last frost is actually towards the end of April. So it's okay though to be trimming these now. Just trim the dead. Don't touch the new growth, just trim the dead. Then it will all come back. Like I said, the more I take off, the more you can see the new growth right there. So I'm just gonna go for it. And if you accidentally trim some of the new growth, that's okay. It's not going to hurt it. It will definitely come back. This is a pretty tough plant. This is another one of those ones that does not like a lot of water. So definitely don't put it somewhere it's going to be sitting in water because it will die. Oh, there's something. There's why the mouse stays under. They made a little nest. Well, that's going. So now I know why the mouse comes out and scares me. He has a nest in there. Glad I was gloved handed. Okay, I'll clean up all the debris and start on the next one. You can see in this one, as I've gotten into it, there is quite a few leaves of green, even on the stuff that I cut off. So it will grow back fine. There's what they look like. So after I cut back the lamb's ear, and because it's in a bed with a bunch of bulbs, I am going to go ahead and give it some water. Not a lot, but just a little. Like I said, they do not like to sit in water. I'm just going to give them a drink for the season, or for the early season, I should say. But mostly, I'm going to give these bulbs some water. We haven't had rain in quite a while, or any kind of moisture, including snow. And so, you can see, I'm just lightly giving them some water. I don't want to drown them. I don't want them to rot. P.S. There is one more thing for me to trim, and it's these muhly grasses. I leave them during the winter because I think it's very interesting. You can see the seed heads, and it just gives us something to look at out here. But now it's time to trim them back. And I'm just going to do this little one first to show you how easy it is, just to give you an idea. And it is simply, you can kind of see where I've cut them back in the past, and that's what I'm doing, about 1 inch from the ground. An easy way to do these, grab a handful of the reeds in a bunch like this and trim them that way. That makes it much easier. Now I'm done. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.